Hello and welcome. I want to talk to you during this video lecture about a broad overview of the database development life cycle. Now, if you've taken a systems analysis class, and you needn't have to take this class, but many of you may have, everyone will be required to at some point or another, you study more generally the development life cycle for systems and software. Here we are focusing more specifically, unsurprisingly, since this is a database class, on the database development lifecycle. Okay, and it's got 4 pieces, again, consistent with typical systems analysis and design methodologies. First comes the analysis part. First comes the, I'm going to do the circling. You'll notice that the handwriting is a little better. I'm back to the tablet PC, but still not perfect. So, item 1 is the analysis part, understanding the problem domain. What is the problem that this system, that this database, is trying to accomplish? Okay, that's really important. If you don't know what you're trying to accomplish, it's going to be really hard designing a database to accomplish it. So this is a specification. You do need to write this stuff down in natural English. Where are you going to get the answer to the question? What is the problem and how do we solve it? Well, oftentimes you need to talk to the individuals for whom the system is being developed. That's not usually you, and they can be technical, which is one thing. They can be speaking not technical in your terms, but technical in terms of the business, and they can also not know what they want. It's not that they're dumb, it's just it's easy enough to identify what you want, it's easy enough to picture it in your head. It's often not that easy to say it to someone else. But in any case, in this step, we talk about what we need to store in the database, basically what needs to go in, and then what needs to come out. What is the information we're going to be storing, and what are the queries and questions and reports that we want to generate from what has gone into the database. And the big question that will influence the rest of week 2 and our discussion of entity relationship diagramming: what are the important people, places, things, organizations, events, ideas, and concepts that we need to capture to address this problem? Okay, so that's step 1. Step 2 and 3 basically are high-level design, where we focus more broadly on and less technically on what the solution is going to look like. And that's 2. And then we get slightly more specific, low-level design. And then in step 4, we focus on validation and testing and iteration as necessary. So down here we say, all right, we think we have what we're looking for. Let's create a prototype. Let's create a mock-up. Let's show it to the users. Let's see what they think about it. Let's see what we can learn. And then oftentimes as not, we have to go all the way back to 1, or if not back to 1, then at least back to 2, to either better understand the problem in 1, or better represent the problem in 2. And so keep in mind this can iterate. Here in week 2, we want to focus. Well, first of all, let me say, we don't give this process enough justice in this class because it's a technical class by and large about some specific techniques related to database. But 1, if something's going to go dreadfully wrong, really 1 is one of the easiest places for it to do so. That said, we will go over it as much as we need to really pay attention to number 2, the high-level design, where we develop an entity relationship diagram, which is a conceptual model. It is a model that abstracts out a lot of stuff that doesn't influence the nature of the database design and really focuses in on the ideas and issues, constraints that are going to shape the nature of the database. Now, when we get to 3 and we design a schema is just basically a game plan for a bunch of tables in a relational database. Here, somewhere along here, we're going to actually start implementing, sometime between 3 and 4 perhaps, saying All right, we know what we want. We've got to actually instantiate it in SQL. So you'll learn how to do that as well. But for week 2, unsurprisingly, we're worrying about step 2, although that correspondence will end shortly. And so stay tuned for the next video, and there it's going to be very useful because, you know, an entity relationship diagram is in fact a diagram, and it has a very graphical feel, and it can get quite complicated quite quickly, and it looks something along these lines, and it's got various constraints going, and we could say, and so on and so forth. But for this business, which is what we'll get to in the next lecture, stay tuned until then. In the meantime, I will see you online.